How will I make a difference?
How will I handle being independent?
My hope and dreams for my children.
I want them to follow their faith all the way through to the end and run the race.
To think, to engage, to have pegs on which to hang ideas and events.
It's very much about academics and preparing for the future, but it's also about development as a person.
I think probably the best way I can word it is 3 John 4 that states, I have no greater joy than to know that my children are walking in the truth.
Really make sure they've got an anchor in their life, because they're going to be thrown in the ocean and there's a lot of currents.
We pray that the base that they got here and the Christian education that they got here at ECS will help them move forward in the right direction.
I think that home and church and school must work together to help students develop this kind of foundation.
I would love for them to go off to college and be granted enough to be salt and light.
We got to let them know that when they're on their own, it doesn't mean they're away from the Lord, and they're away from everything that they have deep inside them.
To see that there is a relationship between how we think and how we believe, how we act, how we behave.
The big thing is that the Christian worldview is so very important.
ECS has been amazing. I think it just so beautifully dovetails what we've tried to do in our home.
Think from a Christian perspective.
To be prepared for life.
When I went to college,
When I first got to college,
It's eye-opening to see what happens when you first get there.
that definitely is a struggle. When I walk into a class and have a teacher who's an atheist, it shocked me.
It's a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, you get there, there's parties all the time.
Peer pressures.
It's amazing the pressures and what they're exposed to.
Colleges and universities can be a very, very rough place for young people, I think.
You know, you're not under your parents' influence and their authority. You have all this freedom.
They're jumping into a new environment. There are a lot of things being thrown at students when they go to college and a lot of challenges that they face.
Now, we're not talking about sororities and fraternities and cake parties and what goes on in dorms and no curfews. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about just day one academically in a classroom. So I think parents need to know and students need to know that there is a battle for the faith. And so they have to have an anchor. And that keeps you from being swept away by the different subtle currents that come along.
In my classes at UT, I've found my faith challenged in many ways, especially in certain sciences like biology. That's the class I took my first semester freshman year, and those professors they do not believe in the Lord and do not believe in creationism and are, you know, very strong on evolution.
The attitude toward Christianity is not always one of just assaulting it, although that does happen. A lot of times it is neglecting to teach any values whatsoever except the current thinking of the day.
When they get a term paper back because they cited the Bible and it's circled in red, this is not a valid citation. For students today, it's a different kind of pressure and a different kind of challenge. It's not so much, you know, the blatant rebellion, fist in the air. It's kind of a cynical, critical, very jaundiced way to look at life.
when I went to college and encountered different professors who maybe disagreed with my point of view and what I had been taught at ECS, I felt that the education I got here in high school had definitely prepared me to defend my beliefs in a way that wasn't argumentative or disrespectful.
Everyone faces peer pressures when they go to college. However, I honestly believe that coming from ECS, I wasn't tempted as much as I thought I would be. My family always told me, you know, you're going to get out there, you're going to meet so many different people who are going to believe different things. Be prepared. I believe that ECS prepared me for that.
Am I prepared to make the right choices?
What would my legacy be?
My time at ECS taught me so many things.
ECS gave me a great foundation.
ECS instilled many values in my character.
Integrity, honor, discipline, responsibility.
The importance of working hard, time management.
Serving and loving and humility.
To respect others, and it teaches you to also respect yourself.
To make smart choices.
To see truth.
When I left ECS, I felt very prepared.
We want them to be prepared for life. And I really believe that's what the vision of Christian education is all about.
Preparing that student to be everything God created that student to be.
To see that there is a relationship between how we think and how we believe, how we act, how we behave.
They are going to go out and be salt and light, that their passion and their joy and their strength comes from knowing God, that He is first in their life.
Students need to know that it's okay to be different, and that it's okay to have your own beliefs and to follow your own passions.
Are you preparing your son or daughter? Are you pointing them in the right direction?
I think parents have a great responsibility. Parents have to choose the right people to do it.
When I left ECS, I felt very prepared for the academic life at Auburn. Compared to some of my friends coming from other places, I felt like I had already had a strenuous academic experience.
I was scared going out to Pepperdine University. I felt maybe I wasn't worthy academically, but I found out that ECS over-prepared me.
Yeah, ECS, it's a tough school academically, and you really have to put in the time to make good grades.
The things I received here I never could have gotten anywhere else. In a public school system where teachers don't have individual time or they're not willing to spend it.
ECS to me is like a big family, a big Christian family where you can come and you know that every day you're going to be loved and challenged.
One of the main things about ECS that I think is important is that the teachers have such an investment in the students' lives. They really do care about you.
A transfer in my high school years when I came to ECS, and so I'm not a normal student who's gone here for my whole life, but the years that I've spent here have changed me, have helped me be who I want to be. I have developed relationships with peers who are supportive. That's not easy to find in a high school environment. And having friends that support me and love me and never bring me down.
They made the investment and the sacrifices to send me to ECS, where all of the teachers and a lot of the students encouraged you and built you up, laid that foundation that I needed to go out into college and succeed.
I was fortunate enough to, get some awards, get some accomplishments in high school and in college, and those things would not have been able if I had not had a great foundation at home and at the school.
I think that home and church and school must work together to help students develop this kind of foundation.
I think that is the great strength of Evangelical Christian School. It is a place where the entire student is educated with the family's involvement.
Very often when you deal with those kind of issues, you have to deal with the realities of finances. I'd like to say to you that the sacrifices that sometimes you make are long-term investments in the life of your student. Don't think of it as just a short-term cost, but think of it as a long-term benefit that's going to have far-reaching implications for your student's life today, tomorrow, the rest of their life, and perhaps even into eternity.
We want our students to be academically strong. We want them to know all the different worldviews. We want them to be prepared for life. And I really believe that's what the vision of Christian education is all about.